It is the headline that the anti-monarchists have been dreaming of, a phrase designed to inflict maximum damage on the reputation of the Prince of Wales. Abuse of power. Chaos. Tyranny. If you believed the mainstream media reports circulating this morning, you would think that Prince William and Catherine have rolled tanks into Windsor Great Park, evicted grandmothers from their homes, and declared martial law over a Christmas tree farm. The accusations are flying fast and furious, claiming that the couple's move to Forest Lodge has turned the local community into a war zone of disgruntled neighbors and inconvenienced holiday shoppers. But as always, when you scratch the surface of these hysterical claims, you find something very different. You find a desperate attempt by the Republic movement to smear the future king for doing something completely logical, protecting his family. They are trying to turn a security protocol into a scandal, and they are using local residents as pawns in their game. Welcome back to the channel, where we refuse to let the Republicans control the narrative and where we defend the crown against the baseless attacks of the woke mob. If you support Prince William and are tired of seeing him attacked for simply existing, smash that subscribe button right now. Let's dissect this scandal and expose the truth behind the so-called chaos at Windsor. Here is the situation. As we know, William and Kate have secured a lease for Forest Lodge. It is a necessary move to secure a long-term base for the heir to the throne, but according to a blistering new report, this move has angered the locals. The accusations are threefold. First, that the couple has created a no-go zone around their property. Second, that they are threatening to arrest trespassers. And third, and this is the one the media loves, that they are ruining the vibes at a local Christmas tree farm by making customers drive an entire mile out of their way. I know, it sounds terrifying, doesn't it? A whole mile. Leading the charge on this attack is none other than Graham Smith, the CEO of the anti-monarchy group Republic. Now, Graham is a man who wakes up every morning hoping the crown jewels turn to dust. He told Newsweek, and I quote, "The Christmas trees issue might seem silly, but the point is this is all public property and William should not have been able to close those roads and close access to that land. It's not his to do what he wants with." He didn't stop there. He went on to accuse William of sticking two fingers up to local people and grabbing land that isn't his. It is fierce, emotive language. It paints William as a feudal landlord crushing the peasantry. But let's look at the most serious accusation, the one that actually carries some weight if you don't understand how royal security works. The report confirms that two families were asked to vacate their properties ahead of William and Kate's move. Now, on the surface, that sounds harsh. Evicting families in this economy? It is an easy stick to beat the royals with. Graham Smith calls it an abuse of power and privilege. But let's look at the source text and the reality of the situation. The report admits via a source that these families were relocated to other places on the park. They weren't thrown out on the street. They weren't left homeless. They were tenants of the Crown Estate, which is the landlord, and the landlord moved them to different properties. Why? The source puts it bluntly. Those houses are very close to the lodge, so they're not going to want any Tom, Dick, or Harry living in those houses if there are going to be royals there. This is the crux of the matter. We are not talking about a celebrity moving into a neighborhood. We are not talking about a footballer. We are talking about the Prince of Wales, the future king, and his family, which includes the future King George. We live in a dangerous world. We have seen security threats against the royals rise exponentially. Is it really an abuse of power to say that you cannot have unvetted, random tenants living within a stone's throw of the heir to the throne's bedroom windows? Imagine the outcry if something happened. Imagine if a security breach occurred because the palace decided to be nice and leave a security gap. The same people screaming abuse of power today would be screaming incompetence tomorrow. The Crown Estate has a duty to protect the monarchy. Moving tenants while providing them with alternative housing is standard procedure for high-level security zones. It happens around the White House. It happens around Downing Street. And yes, it happens around Windsor Castle. But let's talk about this Christmas tree farm, because this is where the argument becomes almost laughable. The complaint is that the security perimeter forces people to drive a different route, adding a mile to their journey. Graham Smith says it ruins the access to public property. Here is the reality check. Windsor Great Park is managed by the Crown Estate. While the public enjoys access to it, it is not a public park in the same way your local playground is. It is a working royal estate. The entitlement of complaining that you have to drive an extra 5 minutes to get your Douglas fir when the safety of the head of state's family is at stake is mind-boggling. Graham Smith claims William is grabbing land. No, Graham. William is occupying a crown residence that is designated for the royal family. He isn't building a condo on Hyde Park. He is moving into a house that is part of the royal portfolio. This entire narrative is being spun to make William look arrogant. They want to paint him as the bad guy to contrast with the victim Harry. But let's compare. When Harry and Meghan lived at Frogmore Cottage, they also demanded high security. They also wanted privacy. The difference is, Harry and Meghan wanted the perks without the duty. William is accepting the duty, the heavy burden of being Prince of Wales, and the security requirements are simply a byproduct of that job. The accusation that he is sticking two fingers up at locals is purely Graham Smith projecting his own animosity. The locals in Windsor are generally very protective of the royals. They understand that living next to the castle comes with certain caveats. You get the pageantry, you get the tourism boost, you get the prestige, but you also get road closures when the VIPs move around. It's the trade-off. Furthermore, let's look at the threatening to arrest trespassers line. The report frames this as if William is personally standing at the gate with handcuffs. In reality, this is the police. This is the Royalty and Specialist Protection Command. If you trespass on the grounds of the Prime Minister's country estate, you get arrested. If you trespass at the Pentagon, you get arrested. Why is it abuse when it applies to Prince William? It is an abuse of power. Only if you believe the monarchy shouldn't exist. And that is Graham Smith's agenda. He isn't worried about the two families who were relocated. He is using them as a weapon to attack the institution. He isn't worried about the Christmas tree farm. He is using it to generate headlines during the holiday season. The source mentions that the evicted tenants were not expecting it. And sure, moving is stressful. No one denies that. But let's be real. If your landlord is the Crown Estate and you live next to a massive royal mansion, you have to know that your tenancy is subject to the needs of the Crown. It is not a standard rental agreement, and again, they were given somewhere else. The narrative that they were discarded is a lie. What this story really reveals is the level of scrutiny William and Kate are under. They cannot move house without it becoming a national incident. Every decision is analyzed, critiqued, and weaponized. If they stayed at Adelaide Cottage, people would say it's too small and difficult to secure, putting the children at risk. If they move to Forest Lodge to be more secure, they are accused of land grabbing. They cannot win with these critics. But here is the verdict from the insider. The safety of the Prince and Princess of Wales and their children is non-negotiable. We have seen what happens when security is lax. We have seen the stalkers. We have seen the threats. If closing a road and moving two neighbors is the price of keeping the future of the monarchy safe, then it is a price worth paying. Graham Smith can complain all he wants to Newsweek. He can talk about vibes at a Christmas tree farm. But Prince William is focused on the bigger picture. He is focused on serving the nation and raising the next king in safety. This isn't an abuse of power. It is the exercise of necessary caution in a dangerous world. And frankly, if driving an extra mile is the biggest hardship the people of Windsor have to face, they are doing pretty well. I want to know what you think. Is Graham Smith right? Is this an abuse of privilege? Or is it simply common sense security for the most high-profile family in the country? And do you think the media is blowing this Christmas tree chaos out of proportion just to clickbait you? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single one. Don't forget to like this video to show your support for William and Kate against these ridiculous attacks, and subscribe to the channel for the truth that the Republicans don't want you to hear. Until next time, keep your eyes on the palace.